Hey, what is up again everyone? First off, I'm going to start this video by mentioning that I have a new rating system in place from now on that will quickly let you know just how good or bad a Gunpla review is, all with just a simple glance. So without further ado, the new ratings, which quite simply are gold, silver, bronze, and brown. And just to give you guys a general feel for the new ratings, gold tier is as good as Gunpla gets, and using some master grade kits as examples, some Mecha Gaikotsu gold tier kits would be the Master Grade Freedom Gundam 2.0, RX-78-2 The Origin, and the Sazabi Verka. Essentially, Gunpla kits so awesome they'll blow you right out of your knickers. Kits that would fall into the silver tier would be kits on the same level as the Master Grade Strike Version Remaster, MG Amazing Red Warrior, and the Master Grade Jesta. These are kits that are exactly what you'd expect from a solid, great Gunpla kit. Brilliant, archetypal master grades that do everything right, they just don't do or have anything that will especially blow your mind. Next then is the bronze tier, which is the they could have done better tier. Kits that are disappointing in some way or another, like the master grade Death Side, Jinx, or Destiny. Kits that are either too basic, too disappointing, or just not up to the quality we usually expect. Last then is the brown tier, which is absolutely bin-worthy trash. Definitely a special award to say the least, and that's kits that Bandai have literally just pooped into the box, like the Master Grade Delta Plus or the Victory Gundam. And of course, keep in mind that all my reviews are based entirely on out-of-box builds. Of course, even the worst of kits is salvageable in some way or another. Now moving on to the review, and without further ado, the Master Grade F91 2.0 is the first kit to grab itself a Mecha Gaikotsu silver tier. This right here is a kit that came so close to perfection, but the F91 fell short. This time around, for better or worse, Bandai decided to stay old school with its 2.0 remaster, which means although it looks pretty much like it stepped out of the 1991 movie, just with some nice new metallic parts and LED functionality, sticking to the old design means that it has some serious articulation woes from the knees down, which means it looks incredibly awkward in most aerial poses. The accessories, however, are great, and this kit even includes two different variants of the head, one which transforms and one which doesn't. Let's check it out. Hey, what is up again everyone? Welcome back to another Gunpla review, and today I'm taking a look at this right here, which is the Master Grade Gundam F91. And of course, as usual, this video here would not be possible if it wasn't for those awesome people over at Hobbylink Japan. So if you want one of your own, then check out that link down there in the description. Now let's get to it. Moving straight into the aesthetics, and this is all one big pro. This kit's looks are its strongest aspects, and Bandai have really maintained the old school look and feel. This kit actually feels like an old school build, for better or worse. When I was building this, I felt like I was building a kit from, I don't know, maybe around the mid-2000s? A lot of 2.0 kits add a lot of changes to the original design. For example, like the Master Grade Freedom 2.0. Some people weren't a big fan of the design changes. I thought it was great. But some Gundam fans are purists, and rightly so. If you want a Master Grade of your favorite kit, you want it to look like it, right? And this right here definitely does. Bandai have given it a bit of a new age feel at the same time by enhancing some of the parts, like those metallic parts in the chest, the rear thruster, as well as the sides of the legs, some nice moving gimmicks in the shoulder as well as the back of the legs, and this thing also has LED functionality, which doesn't come in the box, which is a bit of a disappointment and is sold separately for about 2,000 yen. I don't have it. But like I said, this is a for better or worse keeping of the old school look, which on the worst side isn't a con for right now, that'll be for later, is that they didn't do a whole lot to make the articulation great in this thing. It's a bit on the limited side. So the trade-off is you get that old school look, but you're getting some old school articulation here too. As for the build, like I said, it feels like an older kit. It's absolutely simple. You'll get this thing done in one evening. In the box, you get a grand total of 15 runners. Some of these are attached, like D1 and D2 are attached, so it's technically 2 runners in a bigger runner. And as well as those, we've got the runner of clear beams and shield, a stand, and as for stickers, we get a small set of foils, a big set of sticker-style decals, as well as my favorite, dry transfers. These things look great. So that means this is a Master Grade build with no polycaps, and in case it matters to you, the inner frame is mainly made of ABS. Again, something that has that more old school feel. The only thing that doesn't seem to be color separated correctly are these fins that flip out at the shoulders, but besides that, the detailing is so nice, the metallic parts look great, and all in all, this thing is a visual delight. It looks great. As for a size comparison, there he is beside his standard Granddaddy Gundam. You can see he's a little bit on the small side. There it is next to another small Master Grade, which is the Master Grade Wing Gundam. Next to a big Master Grade, which is the Master Grade Double Zeta. And lastly, there it is beside a high grade, so you can see it is definitely quite this small mobile suit. So moving on to accessories, and here is the Gundam F91 with everything that it comes with. So this thing definitely comes packing, and what we've got is the beam launcher, beam rifle, an alternate transforming head, alternate face part, 4 different sets of alternate fingers, that's 6 in total, base adapter, shield, shield effect parts, 2 beam sabers, and a stand. So as for heads, we've got this standard head, which is this one right here. This one parts forms, so to do that you just pull off the top of the head like this. You then have to carefully remove the eyes as well as the chin section, then just do the exact reverse with the alternate part. So that is the parts forming section. There they are side by side so you can see them. And of course, as well as that, we've also got the actual transforming version. So one thing I'll mention right off the bat is this doesn't have yellow sections for its Vulcans, which is a little bit odd. But besides that, at the moment, it looks pretty much identical. So pull all that off and pop that on. So once again, here's another side by side. This time it's the parts forming head in this mode beside this new transforming head in this mode. I'll also note just at this point, this section isn't panel lined. That's why it looks so different. And in order to transform it, then you just pull out the sides of the head like this. Reminds me a little bit of the Unicorn Gundam. And then we have 2 sections in there in the back, which you can see are that standard Gundam face. So just pull them out, then pull them forward, and they close over the face like that. So that's 1, and there is 2. So you can see this does give it a little bit of a split in the face here, a bit of a cat-like face almost. So once again, there it is side by side with the parts forming head. So as far as I'm concerned, the best option here is to use the parts forming head, the one without the split in the muzzle there, as the Gundam style head, and use the transforming head then for the more unique face of the F91. Then you can just swap the heads back and forth instead of messing around with all the other stuff. But the transforming aspect is a pretty cool gimmick. As for the manipulators, they're fairly simple. These are just your standard swap out finger style. So you've got fists, swap that out, beam rifle holding hands, there's the back of that, and lastly then we've beam saber holding hands. So these are simple and effective, but does mean you have to keep the parts nearby whenever you want to change them out. So first of the weapons is the beam rifle, and this is pretty nice, just in 2 shades of color. That's the dark gray as well as the white. It features an asymmetrical design, which is really nice. The detail on the white sections particularly look great, but sadly we do only have a foil seal there for this sight, but all in all, looking pretty good. Also on here we do have a side to side moving handle. Next up then is the beam launcher, again looking pretty good in the white on very dark gray color scheme. We have a lot of panel lining opportunities on here, especially on the white, and we also have a slightly moving handle. These sections here open up on the front, and as well as that, the magazine can be detached. When not in use, it can be stored on the rear skirting armor. And it actually does hold on quite well, but the butt flap does like to fall off sometimes if you touch it in the wrong spot, but the attachment point here is pretty solid. Next up then is the beam sabers. Those are stored in this awesome little compartment in the side skirt. We've got 2 of those, they pop out like that, and we've got 2 pretty standard green beams. Lastly then is the shield. We get 2 of those, this one here that's attached to the arm, as well as a backup one. I will mention that these are stickers on here, so that looks a bit crappy. The spare one can be kept in here in its right-hand side skirt, just like so. To attach the green beam effect, this whole section pulls out like this. Very nice moving mechanism in there. Pop off the outside section, attach it onto the beam effect, and then just pop it back on like that. So pretty cool. Finally, the last couple of things that come in here is the stand. This doesn't feature any articulation whatsoever. This is actually set up to use with the LED unit, which slots into the back here, runs up into the back, and because of the design, this is a little bit odd. We do get a standard base adapter for using with it, but if you want to use this one right here and you're not using the LED unit, it is a bit on the restrictive side. So anyway, just pop off the back, slide out this little section, slide that in so it literally becomes part of the model kit, and then just pop the back on like so. So you end up removing this little section here in order to attach it. But it has no articulation, so we'll always hold it at this particular angle. So if you're not actually using the LED unit, I would recommend a different action base. It doesn't look too cool. And lastly then, we've got the tiny little 1/100 figure, this time of Cecily Fairchild. Okay, so moving on to the articulation, and you already saw the gimmicks in the transformable head. So next up, we've got up and down the head, not a whole lot. side to side, that's all the way around. We've got a bit of forward and back at the head there. At the shoulder moves out and forward. There is the arm all the way up the shoulder. That is pretty damn good. Full rotation there at that point. The shoulder armor can move up and down separate to the arm. Once again, we have those sections that move out from inside of there. They are all separate, so can be moved individually. That's 3 different sections. Full rotation at the upper arm. The bend at the elbow, pretty good. Just a standard ball joint there at the wrist, so that is just forward and back, as well as 360-degree rotation. We also have full rotation here at the forearm. This is a bit of a problem joint because if you keep rotating it, it just pops off like that. It's exactly the same over the other side, even though they are a little bit asymmetrical. This one, of course, has that moving section right there for the shield. When you move them, they do tend to pop off quite regularly, which is a little bit annoying. Next, we have an opening cockpit which slides open slightly, which is a bit of a disappointment because there's a lot of nice detail on the pilot figure, the little console on front of him, as well as the big clear section all around it, so that is a little bit lost. There is the ab crunch at the waist, so not a whole lot, a bit of rocking back and forward. There's the side to side. Can we get a full rotation out of that? Yes, we can. We've already seen that there's a whole lot going on inside of the side skirting, but besides that, we've got rocking back and forward, as well as raising up and down slightly. There's nothing at the butt flap at all besides what's going on here. We saw that with the beam launcher. The front skirt that can move up like so. This whole front section can pull down like this, and inside here we've got a rocking mechanism that brings the legs up to the front like that. But honestly, it feels like a little bit extra that isn't really needed so much. The front section here ends up looking all kind of gathered and odd, and it doesn't make up for the fact that the rest of the articulation in the legs is pretty poor. So speaking of the articulation at the legs, you can see they didn't split this section here, which is what a lot of newer master grades do to make sure you get that full rotation. So what we've got is just here as far as here, and out to the sides, you do get the full split surprisingly from that, so that isn't too bad. Because as you can see, even though it has that all-encompassing armor here, we still have that little rotating part in there, so not too bad. Anyway, there is the kick all the way up to the front, so definitely not too bad again, quite good. There it is all the way out to the back, blocked by the butt flap. And now from the knees down, this is where it gets pretty bad. There is your bend at the knee, and that is terrible. You'll even notice on the box that this thing is always in the same pose, with one leg down and one leg slightly bent. Besides that, I find when you bend the knees and then try to bring them back up that they end up catching like so, unless you kind of twist them up first. Not a big issue, but it does get a little bit annoying. And then down here at the ankles, we've got a whole lot of armor. This moves up and down like this. There is the foot all the way to the front, all the way to the back. The side-to-side pivot is in the heel like this, as well as the front section here. This can bend up quite well. And although that looks like it has quite a bit of articulation there, you can never ever seem to get anything nice or natural out of it. This is mainly a space use mobile suit, and it can't bend its toes down the way, so no matter what kind of pose you put it in, the feet are always kind of level, perpendicular to the leg there, and it always looks a little bit weird. Why it would ever need this kind of bend, I'm not sure. Sure, you can use it in crouching poses and whatnot, but I would prefer some down as opposed to up. So once again, the articulation is quite good, except for the knees down. They really let the whole kit down. Lastly then on the back, we've got the VSBRs, which is the variable speed beam rifles. These can slide around to the front on these little rails, which is quite cool. So these have two forms. One is just when the handles pop down like this, which is the low speed form. And then we can pop that back in. The front section extends out like this. We've got a secondary handle in here that pops down, and the back section pops out like so. So they really put a lot of detail into these. These are pretty cool. Look at that there. I will mention though that angling this into the hand at times can be quite awkward because you have to kind of get the hand in from behind and tilt it in to loop into that, but definitely no real big issues here. So that is it for the review, and all in all, this is a top tier Gundam, bar the articulation from the knees down. If they had done something about those knees and those ankles, this thing would be an absolutely perfect master grade. It looks phenomenal. The colors are great, the detail is fantastic, the metallic parts look great, and as for the accessories, we've got everything you'd want, different variants of the head, and it does have that LED functionality as well. So once again, it is a fantastic little mobile suit besides the joints in the knees and the ankles. So all in all, the bottom line is it is an absolutely fantastic master grade that's marred by the articulation in the legs. Besides those, it's great. If you want a version of the F91 that looks absolutely fantastic just standing there, then this is the one you want. However, if you want something that looks great in dynamic poses all of the time, then this may not be what you're after. Again, it's not the worst articulation-wise, but it sure as hell isn't the best. But it is damn beautiful. But anyway, as always, thank you very much for watching. If you want one of your own, check out that link down there in the description and get yours at Hobbylink Japan. And as always, I'll see you next time.